The first time I noticed the chair had moved, I thought it was nothing. The second time, I thought I was losing my mind. By the third time, I knew the room wasn't mine anymore. I live in a small one-bedroom apartment, barely big enough for me and the cheap furniture I dragged in when I signed the lease. It's the kind of place where you can see the entire living room, kitchen, and bedroom from the front door if you stand at the right angle. Nothing special, nothing strange, just quiet. I had a routine. I worked late, came home, microwaved dinner, collapsed on the couch. I'd scroll my phone until my eyes burned, then drag myself to bed. Safe, predictable. Except little things started catching my attention. The coffee table an inch closer to the TV than I remembered. The rug slightly crooked. My bed pushed just far enough from the wall that it cast a shadow where there hadn't been one before. Tiny details, easy to dismiss. I told myself I was just careless, forgetful. But then things escalated. One night, I came home from work, tossed my keys on the counter, and froze. The couch wasn't against the wall anymore. It was in the middle of the room, perfectly centered, like someone had dragged it there on purpose. I stood in the doorway, grocery bag dangling from my hand, staring at it for a full minute. The silence of the apartment pressed against my ears. I finally laughed it off. Told myself maybe I'd been sleepwalking. Maybe I'd moved it and forgotten. But that laugh didn't last. Because the next morning, the bed wasn't where it had been when I fell asleep. I woke up against the opposite wall. My nightstand was on the wrong side. My lamp was upside down on the floor, its bulb still glowing faintly. And the air smelled wrong. Like dust. Like something that had been sealed away for too long. That's when the noises started. Soft dragging sounds at night. Furniture sliding against the floor while I lay in bed, too afraid to open my eyes. Whispers. Low. Hissing. Not in any language I knew, but close enough to words that they dug into my brain. It all came to a head one night around 2 a.m. I'd been lying awake, heart racing, listening. And then, right outside my bedroom door, a thud, followed by the unmistakable sound of wood scraping on wood. I reached for my phone to turn on the flashlight, but the screen stayed black. Dead, even though I'd charged it. The whispers started again, this time louder, clearer. I pushed the bedroom door open, and froze. The living room wasn't my living room anymore. The couch, the chairs, the table, everything had been stacked, balanced. A grotesque sculpture of my furniture, teetering toward the ceiling. And standing in front of it, perfectly still, was a silhouette. Not a person. Not exactly. Just a darker shadow among shadows. Its head tilted toward me. And then, without moving its feet, the shadow drifted an inch closer. I slammed the door shut and stumbled backward, breathing hard. The whispers grew into screams. Furniture crashed against the walls. My bed slid violently across the floor, pinning me against the corner. I clawed at it, desperate, finally squeezing free, bruised and bleeding. The lights in the apartment flickered wildly, buzzing, then exploding into sparks. The smell of burning plastic filled the air. And the shadow, whatever it was, slid under the door. Flat, fluid, like spilled ink stretching across the floor toward me. I bolted, shoved the window open, climbed out into the freezing night air. The glass cut my hand, but I didn't stop. I ran into the street barefoot, gasping for air. When I looked up, the entire apartment building was wrong. Every window showed a different version of my room. One with the furniture upside down, one completely empty, one filled with shadows pressed against the glass, watching me. And in every single one of them, there I was, a copy of me, sitting, standing, smiling. I don't know how long I stood there, staring up at those impossible windows. But when I finally turned back toward the street, my stomach dropped. Because I wasn't outside anymore. I was standing back in my apartment, everything perfectly in place. The couch against the wall, the rug straight, the bed exactly where it should be, as if nothing had ever moved. Except there was one change. On the wall above the couch, scratched deep into the paint, were 4 jagged words. Where should we sit? And now, every time I blink, something else is different. The lamp is closer. The chair is turned. The bed is an inch from the wall. The room keeps rearranging itself. And sooner or later, I think it's going to rearrange me too.